Welcome back, guys. Clan Mandalorian. I'm the Mandalorian, and let's get into this video today. This is something I'm going to address. I haven't really dove too deep into this, so I'm actually going to really get into it today with this topic, and it needs to be discussed. So there's a lot of Star Wars fans who are not happy with the movies that will be coming out, and a lot of criticism for the Rey movies as well, which, you know, it's expected, and pretty much anything sequel based. So with me being born in the late 90s, I'm a prequel guy. So episode 1, 2, and 3, those are my favorites for sure. But at the same time, I have the original trilogy right there with them. I was just able to live through the prequels, so that's why I like them a lot. And the original trilogy is beautiful. It's great. Here's kind of when I want to look at Daisy Ridley, for instance. So back in the prequel era, we have Hayden Christensen, who got a lot of hate. We also had Ahmed Best, who had a lot of hate. And the way they dealt with them, no one should deal with things like that. You know, they're acting in movies that they have no control over. They might be able to, you know, throw some, you know, hints and stuff like, hey, we should maybe try this, you know, but it's also George Lucas. That dude knows his stuff, obviously giving us the best story. And there's people like me and you making content over said story. So obviously George Lucas is the god of Star Wars. These actors have no control, but obviously we get redemption. So in the Kenobi series, we get Hayden Christensen back, and very long awaited, and especially getting Ewan McGregor back as well. It was great to see Anakin in the flesh again, Hayden Christensen as Anakin. And to even top it off, cherry on top, we get to see Hayden Christensen as Darth Vader. Beautiful, amazing. And then we get Ahmed Best in Mandalorian Season 3, and he plays Kelleran Beq, who saves Grogu on the night of Order 66. So those are their redemption stories there, is these new characters, and then now everyone loves them, it seems like, which they should have had love in the first place. So now I think Daisy Ridley is going to follow that path as well. She got a lot of hate for the sequels, probably one of the most hated characters. You know, we have Rose as well, and I don't even think she should be hated as much. It's just a poorly written character. And that's the difference between bad characters and poorly written characters. There is a huge difference. Rose's character, you know, could we have lived without her? Yes. But could we not live with her? No. You know, she's there. She's in the story. She can't just be erased from the movie. So she's a character, and you just have to live with that. I mean, what can you do? As fans, what can we do? So I think Daisy Ridley will actually have a redemption with these movies. And I think it's just going to flip her career back upside. And I think everyone needs to give her that chance to redeem herself. As you know, these actors don't have to redeem themselves, but in the movie verse and Star Wars, we have to understand that there's some sort of redemption. So I think the Rey character in the sequels will be whatever. We can't change it, but at the same time, I think Rey in the future projects will uplift that character and will be more likable. With the sequels being rushed, I think that's the only flaw with the sequels, is that it's rushed, and you can feel the timetable that they had on writing the movies. Obviously, we know that Palpatine wasn't supposed to be a thing until the last couple years of writing and going into production, and then we also find out that Rey is a Palpatine at the last second as well. The entire sequel story is obviously rushed, and you can feel that. But I do feel that we just need to, you know, just kind of understand it. And I know it's things we grew up on and things we love, but we just need to accept that there's nothing we can do. It's either we like the project, don't like the project, or we just live with it. But that's kind of just my touch on that. I feel like there's things we can do and things we can't do. Like I said, I think the Rey story will have its redemption, just like Hayden Christensen had and Ahmed Best will. And I think there will be a lot of positive from these future movies. But with that being out the way and out the window, I do want to talk about Disney Star Wars and what can go forward. So George Lucas, the man, the myth, the legend, created Star Wars. And he created the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy. And there's some writings with the Clone Wars as well. And he obviously had some sequels that were meant and some partially written, and I think some fully written as well, but we never got them. He wanted the story to end with Return of the Jedi. That's fine. That's what we knew 10 years ago. That's all we knew. George Lucas set the tone. He told his story, and he sold Star Wars to Disney for a lot of money, which makes sense. This is all a business, and I don't think George Lucas even expected Star Wars to be as big as it was at the beginning. But now you go anywhere, you see Star Wars. You go to any store, you'll probably see Star Wars. And a lot of conventions, a lot of Comic-Cons, and a lot of stuff like that, you're going to see Star Wars. It's one of the, biggest fan bases on Earth. Same with Marvel, same with DC, same with, Star Trek to Spider-Man to Batman. It's, Star Wars is arguably up there at the top always. The closest person and the most important person to today with Star Wars is Dave Filoni. Dave Filoni is going to continue George's story from his point of view, but always have what George would have thought in the back of his mind, which this makes Disney Star Wars okay. Obviously, the Clone Wars and Rebels, that's all from Filoni's mind, and that's some of the most beautiful and uplifting and just tear you down moments in Star Wars. And it's really cool because we get backstories and deeper dives into characters and settings, which is amazing. That's why I love Dave Filoni and what he does. So that's why we have to protect Dave Filoni at all costs. Of course, The Mandalorian, he works alongside with Jon Favreau, and The Mandalorian has been a great story so far. Season 1 and 2 are amazing, as season 3 had a lot of good parts. Just wasn't my favorite, but still it's about a 7 out of 10 in my opinion. It was a great season, but collectively it's a great story. And we're getting a lot of characters. We get Boba Fett back. We're getting Fennec Shand. We get Cobb Vanth. Just some of those characters that we meet in The Mandalorian, and they're back and have their own shows. And most importantly, we're getting Ahsoka, and we've seen her live action twice. Now we're getting her own series, and it's going to be huge. This is going to help out a lot with the Star Wars universe today that we see. And right now I feel like we're living in the Mandoverse, and we still have Skeleton Crew coming out, and that's going to be a whole list of new characters. What's nice with Dave Filoni is we get to encounter more Knights of Order 66. A lot of people aren't liking that we keep going back to Order 66, and it feels like it's too much, and there's too much content coming out about Order 66. But at the same time, that is the night that changed Star Wars. That is the night that changed the entire Star Wars universe. The Jedi are the big, the good, and the Sith come in and take over, and everything's flipped. The Separatists onto anything that happens with the democracy, that happens within all of the politics of Star Wars. Everything that night changed and is different. Episode 1, 2, and halfway through 3 are one story, as half of 3 and then 4, 5, and 6 are just a whole nother story. The galaxy being ruled this way, and then all of a sudden changing to now it's in the rule of the Empire. It's a total 180. I think that night is very important, and there's a lot that went on. Maybe we can get a flashback to see what happens to Quinlan Vos on Kashyyyk once Order 66 happened. Continuation of Yoda getting back to, or going to Dagobah the first time, like the deleted scene we get in Revenge of the Sith. A whole bunch of other things. Maybe we can even get Caleb Doom and his master in live action. Maybe there's just a lot of things that could happen. And if you think about it, Dave Filoni his mind is huge. He has a lot of these different scenarios that can happen, and things that we can see and understand the story more without really just theorizing. But at the same time, having theories is super fun. Obviously, with The Mandalorian, it's like, who's the next big character we're going to see? And, a lot of us look for that fan service, especially if you're a huge prequel fan. You always look for that fan service and those little Easter eggs that you get, sprinkled in The Mandalorian and all of these shows in the Mandoverse. But I think these movies are really going to do big justice, and we have to just let Filoni cook. At this point, we just have to let Filoni cook. This is a lot of the things, anywhere from Solo to the sequels, and anything that you don't find good. Book of Boba Fett getting his own show but not getting the limelight. All of the bad things. I think that these movies with the Mandoverse and Ahsoka And the Rey movies, I think it just fixes everything. And I'm very excited to see what these are. But basically, that's just me getting everything kind of off my chest, just some of my opinions and what can actually happen for the world of Star Wars. There's a lot of bickering, there's a lot of opinions, and it's good, you know, it's good. And, you know, we get that toxic trait as well that everyone talks about, but I try to stay away from that just because it's opinions. It's all opinions. You can't get mad at someone for not liking something, but you can also put your ideas out there to make people kind of just think differently. See, it's all about point of view. Getting that out, it's almost time. It's almost Ahsoka time. We got that 2 months. We're still patiently waiting, and a lot of Lego sets, a lot of good Funkos coming out. We will have some videos for that. But if you enjoyed this video, drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Mandalorian, I'm out.